on. It is 1:30.
Yeah.
And we will call the Cumberland County Finance meeting to order. And we'll begin with the roll call. Please, Desiree.
Commissioner Niebuhr,
I am here.
Commissioner Pashi,
I'm here.
Commissioner Eichenberger.
All right.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is when we open it up to public comment. If there's anyone online wishing to make a public comment, please use the raise your hand feature.
No
Are we
requests.
seeing anyone? We have some folks in the audience. Is anyone here to make a public comment at this point in the agenda? Does not appear so. All right. We'll go on to the approval of the minutes of the July 30th meeting.
I'll move to approve.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have a discussion and approval of the contracts for MHIDD and have Annie Strite joining us online. Hello, Annie.
Hey, good afternoon, commissioners. I have a series of memorandums of understanding for our CASP, our Child and Adolescent Social Services Program, and elementary student assistance memorandums of understanding with each of our schools. As you're aware, there are 13 school districts in Cumberland and Perry counties, and the memorandum of understanding language is exactly the same in each document for each school. And so I can go through these individually for your requesting your approval. Also, in each one of the packets of information, I believe was included statistics, data from the prior calendar year, the prior school year. If it's not there, we can make sure you receive it. At any rate, I can go through each one individually if that's your preference. So we're requesting approval for a memorandum of understanding for our CASP and ESAP program for the Big Spring School District. And then also the Camp Hill School District, the Carlisle School District, the Cumberland Valley School District, East Pennsboro School District, Greenwood School District, Mechanicsburg School District, Newport School District, Shippensburg School District, South Middleton School District, Susquehanna School District, West Perry School District, and then West Shore School District.
Do you have there was something there was something listed, Cumberland County Commonwealth of PA, Goodwill Keystone Area Inc. as well.
Correct. That's actually a different memorandum of understanding. I see the agenda had them listed alphabetized. That is specific to our Project Search program. And that is a memorandum of understanding, sort of the roles and responsibilities with the county, our county IDD staff, as well as Cumberland Goodwill, as well as the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation. That's actually a 5-year memorandum of understanding that actually dates back to 2017. I was talking with Mark about that earlier today. And OVR is now requesting that these MOUs be revised and updated. For all of these MOUs, ours from the MH side with the schools, as well as the Project Search MOU, we've worked with our solicitor, Keith Brenneman. He's reviewed all of them and is fine with them.
Okay. And then I'm just curious, will you take these to Perry County as well for the Newport, for the schools districts in their county? Yes,
that's correct. And since we serve both counties, Cumberland and Perry, we've always handled these programs just like we do our contracts to go through both boards of commissioners.
Very good. Did anyone have other questions of Annie at this time?
And these are $0 for
That's
a reason?
Correct. Because we haven't charged the schools for the service. We have reached out to the schools. After terminating the student assistance contract for the secondary schools, we've not had the opportunity to reconvene the conversations.
But we don't charge the schools for these services.
You are correct. That's correct.
Okay. Do we know how much these services cost?
last year CASP was about $700,000 funded through Human Services Block Grant dollars.
What did we ask for in our human services block grant this year for it?
I'm sorry.
What did we ask for in the human services block grant this year for CAS?
Doesn't get into that level of specificity into the block grant.
Okay,
Typically what happens is we tell them what we're doing with all these resources. And then when the state budget is approved, they tell us how much money we have to work with.
but they don't pay you. They don't pay us.
Well, they give us an appropriation. They give us an appropriation, and then the counties make determinations about how those funds are expended.
But the school districts don't pay, was I think your comment, right?
Yeah, so it's confusing when I say these are $0 grants and that we don't get paid for them. And then I hear that we do get paid for them. So I really want to make sure I understand that, Annie.
Well, we receive an allocation, an appropriation from the state, and we then use those dollars to serve the community. CASP has been in existence for 3 or 4 decades. And so we've always provided the service to our schools. A couple of years ago, probably 2.5 years ago, I had sent emails to all of the schools requesting consideration of some funding and have not received that. And as you're well aware, we had to make cuts this past year, and we cut the secondary student assistance program. So for middle and high school, that was contracted out to a provider, Holy Spirit Hospital, their Teen Line program. And just to be clear, for last fiscal year, CASP was $714,465.
Thank you.
So Annie, that was my question prior to the meeting, because these are $0. However, if we find that funding isn't allocated to us through the block grant, we aren't obligated to continue to provide services necessarily. That would be a choice that we would make as it relates to budget going forward.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other questions of Annie at this time?
Annie, it sounded like you wanted to say something.
I was just going to make sure that, you know, if you had any other questions, we would be happy to answer them. But I also wanted to make sure that, you know, the Keystone, the Project Search MOU got enough attention as well. So if you have any additional questions, please feel free to ask.
Thank you. Yeah, that because it was consolidated in. Is it okay to just do them all in one fell swoop? If someone would like to make a motion for approval of all of them, is that
For
right?
approval of the contracts as discussed and listed here.
Okay,
I'll second.
it's moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you,
Alrighty.
Annie.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we have a discussion and possible approval to place the land partnership plan on view with Kirk Stoner and William's going to be joining in this? Yeah. Okay, I thought so.
You want to run that stuff?
Sure.
Okay, just a quick overview. Commissioners, this is our land partnerships plan. So this is our plan for ag preservation, parks, trails, and natural resource protection. So it's an affiliate plan to our county comprehensive plan. So when you look at the comprehensive plan that we just adopted last year, our first principle, protect the best first, right? So that's our first principle of the plan. That's where we really capture the land partnerships aspect of the plan. So we're looking at those 4 elements. Last updated in 2013, updated this year. We did the update with the assistance of the steering committee. We have some of those members with us today, also a few online. So what we thought we would do today is give you a quick overview of the plan. Steph will give you a quick overview. Our steering committee members may want to make a few comments and answer any questions the board may have. The action today that we're requesting is to put the plan on public view, so we can put it out for public comment, get comments, bring it back to the board then in September, and then look for your adoption at that time. So with that, turn it over to Steph and let's do the presentation.
Absolutely. I think you captured that one, so we'll just skip right on to the next slide. But first, we want to talk a little bit about the success we've had to date with our land partnerships grant program and the whole initiative. We have given away 139 total projects under our land partnerships grants. That was 12 land acquisition projects that totaled about 500 acres of land preserved. We had 92 park and trail projects, 31 planning projects, and 4 water projects. These grants made an investment of nearly $16 million in our communities. There was $3.2 million in Act 13 funds that we received. With those funds, we were able to leverage about $5 in matching funds for every dollar that we had into the program.
And Stephanie, when you say Act 13, what do you mean by that?
That's the Marcellus Shale Legacy Fund.
Thank you.
So not from the general fund funds that we received. Other successes to date, obviously our farmland preservation program, we're getting ready to celebrate the milestone of 25,000 acres. We'll hit that mark here in August. So we've preserved 230 farms. Thinking about the funds leveraged through that program, that was about a $71 million investment since 1989. Each county dollar we put into the program leveraged about $4.60. Now that's back since the beginning of time. So if you look at the pie chart there, about 21% of the funds came directly from the county. Thinking about the planning process that we had for this plan, it was guided by a steering committee. And as Kirk mentioned, there's some folks here today that wish to say a few words. We did outreach to some.
May I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely.
First, I just thought maybe it was I was just gonna check on it later, but so the document that you're showing us today says each county dollar leveraged $5 in matching funds. And this gigantic, the plan says each dollar invested in the grant program unlocked an average of $6 of additional. So, or we're talking about 2 different pots. I have it, and we can talk about it later, but I just want to make sure that whatever we're putting out
Putting out
we're
there is
explaining really
accurate.
well.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
it could be too that, so the introductory chapter talks about success to date for the last 10 years. So that ratio was probably for the last 10 years where this is the entire program.
Okay, thank you.
But that's.
Thanks. Thank you. That helps.
Sure. The same is true of the farmland preservation program. If you look at the match over the last year or two, it's one rate, but if you look at the entire 35 years, it's a little different.
Yes.
So.
Because I think this says $2.72 from the state, right? And we just keep what we hear, $2, you know, the $2 match. So when I read this, I was interested in that also, but.
The devil's always in the details.
Yes, it is.
So we did outreach with a lot of stakeholder groups. We talked with our friends at DCNR, CPC, Cumberland Conservation Collaborative, a number of different organizations that we thought would provide useful input. We did a public survey, the same survey that was part of the comp plan we shared in the results. There was a municipal and nonprofit survey that was completed to look at projects and needs from the municipalities and nonprofits. And then for each of the core areas, whether it be farmland preservation, natural resource protection, or parks, trails, and greenways, there's goals, strategies, and actions for each of those areas. And in terms of what we heard from people, that farmland preservation was a success. It has a proven track record with visible results. There is an increasing interest and need for more open space preservation. The demands for parks and trails are growing, particularly within a growing population, one of the fastest growing counties. There's a desire for more trail connections, particularly ones that connect with existing public lands and destinations. People want to do a little bit more than just walk around in a circle, and that the county should continue its role and expand that role where possible. Some notable strategies that were in the plan, in looking at those 3 focus areas under farmland preservation, I'd like to see continued program execution of the farmland preservation program, continue to promote it to get new participation. We're always striving to preserve the best farms out there. In Parks and Trails, thinking about steward the Mount Holly Marsh Preserve, which we are landowners of, and try to build that countywide network of trails. And then lastly, there under natural resource protection, preserving our most important priority conservation areas, and then partnering with SRVC to look at critical water recharge areas. So they weren't all the strategies, but just some of the biggies that we wanted to bring to your attention. With regards to implementation of the plan, we think substantial progress has been made. I talked about the successes with the Land Partnerships Grant Program and the Farmland Preservation Program. But there's opportunities we could do more with additional resources, whether that be funding or technical assistance through our office. There's an opportunity to use our partner to leverage our resources. There was an interest in not seeing competition between the various conservation programs. And we also recognize that the county can't do it all, that we need our partners to be active in participating in implementing the goals of the plan. And thinking about what our current investment strategy in conservation and recreation, right now we invest about 1.1 million on average in these initiatives. Typically, we have done roughly $850,000 to the Farmland Preservation Program that comes from the general fund that allows us to preserve about 800 acres of land every year. Through our land partnerships grants, again, we have approximately $250,000 a year from our Act 13 money. That would allow us to make 6, 8, 10 grants, depending on the size and the requests. Unfortunately, these funds are on the decline. This year's allocation is only about $175,000. And lastly, another funding area is our Mount Holly Marsh Preserve. We don't have a capital allocation for maintenance capital projects at the preserve unless we use our land partnerships grants to grant us money to do projects, which we have done small projects at the preserve. So again, that roughly $1.1 million investment has leveraged over $2.5 million for a total investment of $3.6 million. So we've made considerable investments in the program to date. But thinking about going forward.
Stephanie, one question on the Mount Holly Marsh Preserve. Have there been other funds obtained for that, be it from Fish and Boat, DCNR, or things that could be helpful for that site?
So we've received small grants from the South Mountain Partnership to do some signage projects and brochures and some trail markers in the past. Well, actually, right now there's a project going on down there, a fish restoration or fish habitat project that's funded through Conservation District and Fish and Boat Commission. So there have been other funds. There have not been any big capital projects to date. Likely they would require many of them at least a 50% match to accomplish those projects. DCNR is definitely an opportunity. DEP is another opportunity.
Thank you.
So thinking about future considerations, unfortunately demands for these programs are only increasing and the cost of projects are more expensive. Currently under farmland preservation, we have about 47 applications on the waiting list, which represents about 4,600 acres of land. The total cost to preserve all those farms would be roughly $19 million. But again, there is opportunity to leverage funds from the state, significant amount of funds. And you'll see this number is a little smaller, the 2.72 that you mentioned, because it's looking at just what the current ratio of leverage is. Also, during the planning process, we attempted to identify project needs, like what are the projects that are out there in the community. So we identified over 50 park and trail projects, ranging from ones that might be just $50,000 to $7 million projects. But there's opportunities to leverage funds there. For thinking about our land partnerships grant program, on average, in the recent past, every county dollar has leveraged about $5. Similarly, for natural resource protection, open space projects, we identified about 18 there, looking at new parks and known priority conservation areas that we were looking at. Opportunities to leverage funds there. And then lastly, certainly the need to steward the Mount Holly Marsh Preserve remains. We've identified about 14 different improvement projects through a master site plan there. Some of them are small, some of them are larger, but to complete all the recreation amenities would be potentially up to $500,000. And if we sought out state funds, probably would be a 1-to-1 match there on those activities. So this was kind of just focus on like project specific things, but some other, general considerations going forward. There are opportunities to consider public polling to help establish the public's priority for these types of activities, and if they'd be willing to financially support farmlands, parks, trails, open space preservation. Thinking down the road, evaluating a dedicated revenue stream, so there's a sustainable funding source to go to fund these types of projects. We identified in the plan. I'm sure as you read, York County has a model that is interesting and could have good applicability in our county. Also, we need to look at investing in the organizational capacity of our partner organizations. Certainly, many of them have a significant amount of volunteer support, but that's challenging, low staffing. So their capacity is limited. And there are ways that we could help bolster their capacity to help advance the goals of the plan. And we also wanted to acknowledge that investment in county staff deliver results. I think the planning department has a pretty good track record of working with the conservation and recreation community to get stuff done. But we too are limited. In addition, during the planning process, we didn't award any land partnerships grants, thinking about as we're doing this planning, what are our priorities going to be? So we didn't want to continue business as usual when maybe there were other emerging priorities. So right now we have about $650,000 available in the bank. Plus there'll be another 2025 allocation coming by July 1, 2026. So thinking down the road, we should focus on high priority projects, and open space preservation and trails came out as high priority initiatives for the Land Partnerships Grant Program. Proposing that we consider October 1, relaunching the program with those priorities. I don't see significant changes in the function of, how you apply and the rules of the road, but what we're going to fund. And then throw out 2 deadlines, one here in December and then one in June, so people can really start thinking about getting a good project together to come to the county for funding. And then lastly, thinking about just proposed next steps. We'd like your permission today, release this to the public for comment. Have a 30-day public comment period, so folks can, in the public, make comment on what the goals and actions of the plan. Assuming there's any final edits to be made, we'll make them quickly there at the end, and hoping to get the plan adopted in September. I'm happy to answer any questions. As I said, the folks here have some feedback too.
Just one question about the public comment period. Do we have an automated way for people to provide that public comment online, that they can give us feedback that will be combined? Or?
So the plan will be posted. There's a form that they can fill out, page number of their concern, their comment, and their suggestion, but it is not a online portal, so to speak, but it's all available online.
Okay.
So in my draft plan, the appendices are not here. Okay. I'm assuming that they will be posted with.
Yes, yes.
In terms of applications for the parks and trails, I know at one time we discussed providing preference or extra points or whatever for intermunicipal proposals, multi-municipal proposals. So are we still doing that? Because I think, Kirk, from our conversation, you said that there's very few projects coming forward that are multi-municipal. And the reason I ask is because the parks and trails in particular have always been seen somewhat as the counterpoint to farmland preservation. And the obvious factor there is they're aimed more at the more populated centers, so they're benefiting more people, presumably, at least in terms of direct benefits. So with that in mind, my question is, are we getting or are we encouraging multi-municipal projects that would?
So under the planning category specifically, if there's a multi-municipal project, the match is lower to incentivize folks working together and they're prioritized for funding. Yes, and then when you look at just the ranking, so to speak, we talks about regional impact. So I think just by virtue of the impact of a multi-municipal project, it would in fact get the most point versus a neighborhood park or a neighborhood trail.
And Kirk, when's the last we've received any applications of that nature? Multi-municipal.
For land partnerships?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's
been a while.
It's been a while. The Conner de Gwinnett Greenway Trail, that would have been a multi-municipal application.
I think too, some of the big projects we've seen recently, so Camp Tuckahoe is a good example. That's not a project that a single municipality or groups of municipalities brought forward. It was brought forward by the state land conservancies and others that have a regional perspective. So I think there could be opportunities on the trails piece to have some multi-municipal applications. One of our actions that's in the plan was that Steph has already convened, but to reconvene a Cumberland County Trails group to start to look at making those connections, because I don't think a lot of those connections come up organically. Municipalities are highly focused on what's happening in their borders. There is some collaboration that goes on close to borders, but I think that's one of the opportunities for county leadership to come in and help identify where those connections are best made. And then if we're helping to bring funding through our program or solicit DCNR funding to bring it home, we can actually make the connection on paper, but then also in practice with a new project.
And it would align with strategy to under parks, trails and greenways. Like, it just makes perfect sense. There would be multi-municipal grants going out and encouragement of those.
A few questions, but I would love to hear from the other folks if they wanted to offer some of their perspective first, because maybe they'll answer them for me.
Good afternoon, commissioners. Hi there. My name is Anna Yelk. I am currently a board member of Central Pennsylvania Conservancy and president of the Cumberland Conservation Collaborative, and I served on the 2013 Land Partnerships Planning Committee, as well as this most recent one. And wanted to share with you that it's such an important part of the comprehensive plan, and importance of getting this out for public comment is, I think is, important to get that through now. It's been a long process. It's been over 2 years. We did or supported the stakeholder groups in 2023. But it was a very thorough process. And I think the plan has really helpful information that will be great for municipalities to receive. And the Cumberland Conservation Collaborative is a cooperative organization of nonprofits, community organizations, state agencies, DCNR, South Mountain Partnership, several municipalities have participated, and Cumberland County. And one of the main goals is to support the county in the implementation of the land partnerships plan. And so, anything that this organization can do to sort of support and advance that process, that's one of our roles, and we're anxious to move forward with that. We probably have 20 or more active members, would you say, Julia? And a new website and a good, strong board. And so, we're anxious to help with the public opinion survey work that's being done. You know, we sponsored a land conservation funding forum last November. And it's an all volunteer organization of conservation stakeholders in Cumberland County. I don't know if others on the committee, Julia Chain with South Mountain Partnership and Katie Hess, they serve as members of the Cumberland Conservation Collaborative as well. And they have some other things to share.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, thank you very much. Hello, I'm Julia Chain. I'm the program manager of the South Mountain Partnership. We're a public-private partnership between the Appalachian Trail Conservancy and Pennsylvania DCNR. And we serve Cumberland County as well as Adams, Franklin, and portions of York County. And we're so pleased to partner with the county. The Cumberland County has been an integral member of our partnership since 2006, and we owe a lot of our success to county support. As a representative of the South Mountain Partnership, I serve on the Land Partnerships Plan Update Steering Committee, and I had an opportunity to see firsthand the incredible leadership that Cumberland County provides: open space conservation, farmland preservation, and outdoor recreation. I'm excited to share some insights today on 3 impactful lessons that I'm taking from the plan. First, Cumberland County has made some significant advances in protecting open space and ensuring that the county stays healthy over the last 10 years since the plan was updated. A couple things that I want to highlight specifically: the investment of ARPA funds for Camp Tuckahoe parcel. That 900 acres is going to serve the Cumberland County residents by opening new recreation opportunities, increasing protected priority land, and supporting critical habitat for plants and animals. We look forward to continuing to work with resource, and we've been on site visits there, and I've been excited to see that roll out as it transitions to Michaux State Forest. Agricultural heritage is also so important to our region and Cumberland County, from the prime farmland that we have to the sense of place that we identify with when we look around the county. And as an aside, not on my script, I am a resident of Cumberland County for most of my life, and now have unfortunately abstained to York County. But
Get you back.
yeah. I did spend most of my life here. Thanks to the county's farmland preservation program, the county is on target to preserve those 30,000 acres by 2030. I look forward to attending that celebration, hopefully too. And maybe Anna, you can plan to be on the 2033. You can be a 3-time
I'm going for it.
yes, steering committee member. But in addition to these successes, I think it's worth mentioning how much there is leverage of the county investment in farmland preservation. So as Steph had already shared, 27% of those funds that were discussed earlier were county dollars. And it's imperative to continue this investment to reach the goal in 2030. Secondly, I'd like to highlight that the Cumberland County residents shaped this plan and are interested and engaged in the outcomes. The public informed the plan in several ways. I served on the steering committee with many other key stakeholders in the region, and county staff really spent time out in the community trying to work through focus groups and the over 1,300 folks who responded to the Cumberland County Comprehensive Plan Survey. These respondents valued their environmental landscape and prioritized protecting these aspects. However, the survey respondents also expressed worry over increased development pressure and their quality of life, something I'm sure you guys hear often. And that leads me to my third takeaway. We're at a crossroads, I think, in Cumberland County. We see our counties to the east, maybe a little bit farther down the crossroads than we are right now. And we're facing this really fast growing, sometimes we're the fastest growing county, sometimes we're not. I like to say we're up there, right? Of the top 6, I think our region covers 4 of the fastest growing counties. So we've got some pressure going on. And we know that those pressures create a lot of different challenges for you as leadership, but this plan offers a blueprint to ensure residents have these opportunities for healthy lifestyle, economic growth, and a high quality of life. However, the benchmarks that are in the plan demonstrate that more needs to be done. We will need to increase our collective investment in the programs to reach the goals. I'd like to particularly highlight that the South Mountain Partnership supports the funding scenarios detailed in Chapter 6 as future actions to the conservation community that we can move forward as a whole over the life of the plan. We know that this additional investment would create a waterfall investment and leverage federal, state, and local dollars to do the most work in our community. New research from the Pennsylvania Office of Outdoor Recreation demonstrates high-quality outdoor experiences and outdoor products, like we're lucky to have here in the county, contribute to an $18.9 billion statewide industry. And this plan prepares Cumberland County to be well-positioned to benefit from that growing industry. In closing, the South Mountain Partnership is happy to assist in the implementation of this plan. We understand that the implementation will require assistance from many partners. The implementation strategies and actions align strongly with the South Mountain Partnership's State of the Region implementation plan, which guides our work over the next 10 years as well. Some of those specific projects that align with the plan include an update of the natural heritage inventory, which is currently underway, a cross-valley wildlife corridor, and exploration of a multi-county regional trail coalition. The other piece that we can contribute is that we fund about $60,000 of grant projects in our community every year. We plan to further align the South Mountain Partnership mini grant program with the Cumberland County Land Partnerships Plan, so applicants can demonstrate how their projects advance the Land Partnerships Plan when they are applicants from Cumberland County. In closing, we applaud your efforts. We thank you for the opportunity to work in partnership. We look forward to continued participation in this project, and we'll happily serve on other committees or groups to tackle the programmatic process. And thank you to the county staff. It was really fun to serve on the steering committee. It was well organized and very interesting and thought provoking, and we made good cross-organizational relationships along the way. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Maybe I didn't know. Oh, it looks like we have someone online.
There's Tyler.
Yeah. Tyler, it looks like you have your hand up.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can.
Awesome. Hey, I apologize for not being in person. We had a employee call out from our summer camp, so I was called into action here with the summer camp we have going on. But I appreciate the opportunity to jump online here. As you may know, I work for Silver Spring Township. I'm their Director of Public Works, Parks, and Recreation. But I also volunteer on the Shippensburg Parks and Recreation Board in Shippensburg. And I support the Cumberland Valley Rail Trail and that great group of volunteers as well. I had the honor to be a part of the steering committee and work with county staff as we updated the comprehensive plan here. So building upon everything that has been said in the room so far, I wanted to offer a different angle from the lens of a government employee and why a comprehensive plan is so important to staff, because it provides critical insight to what county residents desire. And it's a collection of all the county's thoughts and what they want. And it brings that all together and lays out core goals and mission for us. And then it provides the ideas and the thought process to be able to accomplish those goals over the next set of years, whether it be 10 years or so, until the next update is needed within the county. So very important from, county employees' lens, but also from municipal employees throughout the county as well. The county plan helps mold what we do as well at the municipal level. It feeds off of each other's plans. And what that does, then it develops the support that we need when we go after the state funding grant programs. Because those programs, they ask, do you have a comp plan? Does it align with the county comp plan? Does the county comp plan align with your plan? So we're always looking at a holistic view when we go into projects or different concepts within the county and working with one another. So I just want to jump on, build off of all the great stuff that's already been said here in the meeting, but also provide that point of view from a local municipal worker of why these plans are so important. So a lot of work's gone into the plan. I think we did a really good job of really listening to what the county residents desired and putting forth a plan here that has these goals, but also the ideas of how to accomplish them. And it's not saying we have to do everything tomorrow, but it lays out all these tangible things that we can look into for the future of land partnership throughout the county. So I encourage you guys to look at it and move forward with the advertising and the future adoption of it. So thank you guys. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Tyler.
From all of your list of duties, you omitted camp counselor ad hoc.
Wherever you're needed, you just gotta stop what you're doing and go out and help sometimes.
Thank you. Anyone else in the room or online? Is there anyone else online that's right? All right.
Oh, wait, Julie. We do have a hand up from Tim Johnson.
Okay. So Tim, if you would like to make your comment. You get it? Okay.
There it comes.
I believe Tim is on the planning commission.
Yeah, he's chairman of the planning commission.
Hey guys, can you hear me, see me? There we go.
Yep.
Sorry for the technical difficulties. I guess I had to get promoted to a panelist to be allowed to speak in the room. So yeah, Tim Johnson here, chair of the County Planning Commission. We did have a chance to have the plan presented to us at our meeting last month. And I just wanted to hop on to kind of express, you know, the gratitude, support for all the work that went into the plan, all the people that, you know, contributed, you know, the outreach, the coordination, the writing, everything, you know, was really, really well thought out and really well done. And what I definitely especially wanted to call attention to was the way that the plan does take the time to kind of acknowledge and celebrate the victories that have happened to date. You know, I think that the land preservation, the agricultural land preservation that's happened in the county is something that should really be celebrated. And then even beyond that, you know, some of the things that we've started to do, you know, the South Mountain Conservancy, the partnership, starting to identify these other ways to take the work that's already been done and kind of use that as the foundation, the justification to consider, you know, expanding these opportunities in the future. So, you know, we heard from a number of our commission members at the meeting last week, and, you know, there is a lot of support. There's a lot of excitement for the potential that we have in the county here, and just looking forward to seeing the plan kind of come to fruition. But I think it was a really, really, really well thought out, really well done product, and kudos to the county staff for kind of championing that and putting it all together. So thank you.
Thank you, Tim. All right, so just a couple of questions that I had, Stephanie, on this. You know, a lot of the focus areas that you talk about, farmland preservation, parks, trails, protection. In gathering the data, and perhaps someone in the audience could also, you know, discuss this or opine on it at least. Did people seem to delineate between the programs that we operate? Did they delineate that farmland preservation has a very specific mission to retain active farms within the community versus parks, trails, and greenways and open space preservation? Or were a lot of the answers just, I kind of like open space?
So I would say a little bit of both. I think we heard very clearly that the county farmland preservation program was very successful and they wanted to see that continue. That was one of our top kind of takeaways. When you asked the question of how would you prioritize spending funds, it was open space preservation, farmland preservation, parks, and then trails. So in that case, it's less clear that they may have kind of mixed open space and farmland preservation together. But when we had one-on-one conversations, there was very strong support for farmland preservation.
And I think one of the things that in the discussion that was had in the planning committee was that when you delineate like that, if you're prioritizing funding, and that's fantastic for this specific issue. The challenge becomes for this board that we're not prioritizing amongst just that. You know, we're looking at farmland preservation versus public safety, you know, and those sorts of things. So our prioritization of funding isn't as easy to rank in order in that way. So I will be curious. I just feel that the farmland preservation has such a very distinct mission that it's trying to accomplish, that I was curious if people understood. And if, please correct me, it seems like too, And Julia, thank you for your comment on the acres, the 900 acres of Camp Tuckahoe. I think that's was an incredible thing for, some of this board to support doing. If I don't recall how that all occurred, I was not part of that board, but I commend them for taking that action. But that 900 acres really isn't captured in the numbers that we're accounting for. Is that correct? It looked like, if my notes were correct, you said 12 land acquisitions for approximately about 500 and some acres.
Yeah, that was under the Land Partnerships Grant Program. So if I would have added in the ARP funds, that would have been more.
Okay. It's my concern that's a significant donation. If there's a way that when we're looking at the things that the county has done, that it doesn't get omitted. And I don't know if it's not appropriate in this plan. I think we just need to be more aware that it is captured somewhere. I know we no longer own it, and it was, helping, and it's actually now state owned game lands, correct? The conservation. Yeah, okay.
It will transition.
It is transition,
The
okay,
Bureau of Forestry within the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources.
okay. So it's in process. Okay. So it's no longer our responsibility, but was a really, I think, beautiful gift of this county to the residents. And I hope that it doesn't get lost in that shuffle. So I think that was it. And it was the I read through the plan, and I really am thankful for all of the work that went into it, for all of the volunteers and all of the staff work. It is a little bit frustrating to me as a commissioner when the cry is do more. And I get that a little bit, and I understand the relevance of that, and quite honestly, the urgency surrounding that as we are faced with growth. It is just a challenge as we sit here without a state budget to plan for what I will call the very, very nice things of this world in preservation. So
What kind of things? I'm sorry, I missed that.
the very, very nice things of preservation and preserving that in open space, the luxuries of the Rockefellers.
Yeah, I wish we could get some money that would kind of work like this, where we know that having natural resources that people can access easily and use in an affordable way really and truly does a lot for people's mental health. It's tremendous what it does. And so I think about our mental health budget and how that continues to just be pretty much slaughtered. And how this budget, right, could be a piece of that, right? We could really be helping people in a mental health way by having an investment in green space and farmland preservation. I really like this plan. I like how you laid it out, what the difference is between farmland preservation and green space. I thought you did a really nice job with that. The table on municipalities and the recreation available there, this table I think is very eye-opening, and that there are lots of municipalities where there just really isn't enough green space for people. There's not enough outdoor recreation for people. I did not know that until I read this table. And I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. I live in Upper Allen. Upper Allen is investing all the time in open space, but according to this particular metric, they just don't have enough. I was not aware of the deficit that we have in this county. I like how you focused it on, you have to have farmland, you have to have open space, and you have to balance it with economic development. You have to balance it with places for people to work, with places for people to live. I think it's really well done.
Let me just add a couple of things, mostly for staff. So as much as we said in the beginning that people don't want to see them as a competition, the fact is, the world of limited resources, they're always in competition. So I think it's just as we have to do with other aspects of the budget, prioritization is going to be more important than it ever has been. So you mentioned about everything was kind of lumped together in the past survey, and we weren't very good at being able to separate this program from that program. So I think going forward, perhaps a little more emphasis on doing that type of delineation is going to provide value to the commissioners so that we can understand where we're going to get the greatest bang for the buck, because we can't do it all. So we want to know, what is the best thing. So, and if there's going to be surveying done in coordination with this, that should hopefully mirror some of what's going on with the planning process that the county is undertaking. So,
Yeah, that's a really good point. The strategic plan for the county we're doing now. If there's any polling or any surveying to be done, and there's a component to that with the scope of work, be a good opportunity if the board wants to learn more about resident perceptions on priorities of what we've talked about today versus other county services. Be a great time to do it. We've done other surveys as part of land partnerships in the county comp plan. We're asking similar questions of, will you pay more and how much? So, and they've consistently come back well over 70% of, sure, yeah, we want to pay more in varying amounts, but that question wasn't asked in the context of other competing priorities. So I think it's very important to do that to make sure that you're getting a full perspective from the residents.
you basically stated in better terms than I could exactly what my point was. So I think we're going to have to parse those out now more. The only thing I would say about this plan is the we have come through past practice to refer to land partnerships as merely the parks and trails aspect. So I think that makes it even more important, since we're using that as an umbrella label, to really separate these things out. They deal with different audiences. They deal with different funding streams, have different impacts. So some farmland has very few direct beneficiaries. A handful of farmers get that money. Now there's indirect benefits. Parks and trails can benefit thousands and thousands of people. Is that in itself a determining factor? Maybe not the one, but there may be a number of things we want to look at. So knowing what type of attributes people are looking for in preservation would be helpful. It would be helpful to know what other counties actually have parks. Cumberland County, most of the parks are municipally owned, so we're not capturing a lot of what's going on at the municipal level because of our very limited involvement there. It'd be nice to know if we're comparing ourselves to other counties. What are they doing? I think York County has 3 parks, I believe, and a lot of counties just starting that business. So it'd be helpful to know, so we get a more accurate picture. And the only other thing I would mention is, since we're taking on more of a broad view on this, I think it would be really worthwhile to know what these funding mechanisms look like in other counties, and maybe have some type of a accounting of that. So as the county discusses options going forward, it'd be nice to know what other folks are doing. Not that there's any one singular right way, but certainly give us ideas, options that could be the seeds of more thought and more debate.
There was a focus on the York funding model, which I'm relatively familiar with, as it's one that I think is certainly commendable. I know less about Dauphin County's funding, other than they do own parks. I believe that they use a bit of their casino revenue, and they have their own parks area to fund some work there. Stephanie, the one thing that I do really appreciate you mentioning, and I think it goes unseen a bit, is the resources that Kirk and you are bringing to the table to help not just give the grant money, but to bring this conversation together, and to bring the plan together, and to guide folks through the development, as Tyler said, the things that they're doing in Silver Spring. So that's something that I don't know if other counties do in the same way, but you all have been a really tremendous resource for making things happen. So while we reflect on the great work over the last 10 years, I think that you all should be taking the bow for really spearheading a lot of that work to make it happen. So I appreciate that you mentioned that, and the folks in the room have mentioned that as well. So thank you. Any other questions at this time?
But I will move to place the land partnership plan on here.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Mr. Stoner, it looks like you have another item.
Oh, then I'm slightly surprised. This is the bid for our bridge maintenance project, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Sorry
so-
about that.
I knew, I just forgot.
Potentially recommending to award the bridge maintenance project to JDI Site Solutions.
Yeah, right, so. The press has got our back, thanks, Charlotte. No, so we have a maintenance project on 14 county-owned bridges. Put it out to bid on pen bid. JDI Site Solutions was our little bidder. I believe it was around 351. Engineers reviewed the bids are good. Looking for the motion that is put forward today, so can move forward with getting the contracts in place and getting the project started.
Someone like to make that motion? Yeah, so moved. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Thank you. Is there any other business to come before the board at this time? Kirk, do you have anything else?
Actually, we had a quiz on the land partnerships plan. Based upon the question discussion, we didn't want to insult the board because clearly you've read it. So thank you.
All right, if there's no other business to come before the board, we are adjourned.